So welcome everybody to this year's event hosted by the Uganda Green Enterprise Finance Accelerator as part of Africa Climate Week. In terms of the impacts, so we support the transition to a green economy in Uganda by supporting great enterprises like Bodawerk International, Eco Group, and many others. So we are currently working with over 120 enterprises, and through the course of our 4-year program, we'll work with over 200 enterprises, 100 of which will successfully match with our partner banks to receive this discounted loans that I mentioned previously. With this will leverage 6.1 million USD in debt financing to enable these climate smart green businesses to scale and invest in growth, and to also create then through business development up to 1,800 jobs across green sectors.
My name is Janos Bisasso of Bodawerk International Limited, and I'm co-founder and chief operations officer of Bodawerk. So what is Bodawerk? What do we do? We are an enterprise that builds batteries in Uganda, smart batteries for that matter, with the aim to accelerate the uptake of renewable energy, of which we have access in our economy, as well as the transition to e-mobility, based on the fact that we believe that there is a flexible energy store required to do so. So how are we trying to leverage this ecosystem, this space, the rural and the urban problem? So what we propose is an ecosystem. So moving on, we are trying to essentially offer an ecosystem in which we can have a battery that is not only locally made, but smart enough to be able to communicate with the internet. It is flexible enough to pick energy from whatever source is available, as well as offering the opportunity to power other devices directly or offer backup in a residential or commercial solution. So how's that possible? And on the next slide, we'll try to introduce the battery. So this is what we've been working on over the last 4 years. We've created a battery standard, which allows us not only to share the battery between different applications that offer productive use out of the box, but also monitor the use of that energy across these different applications, while unlocking the opportunity for pay-as-you-go asset-locked lending of the battery itself and the applications that it powers. And finally, we're looking to build a circular economy to answer a lot of the questions that people have around taking, for example, electric mobility up in a region like this. What happens to the battery? And over our presentation, you will see that we don't only see multiple lifetimes of the battery within our ecosystem, but even the question of end recycling can be answered in our economy. So what makes this battery so special? The battery, essentially, next to being able to hold 4.6 kilowatt hours of energy, is able in the E-BODA scenario, so that's our electric motorcycle, to cover on average 100 kilometers. It is able in our electric tractor solution, which is a 2-wheel walking tractor conversion, to cover about half an acre's worth of plowing. We can cover about 45 minutes of open throttle operation on the lake in our E-OUTBOARD application. And finally, we have the opportunity to not only power people's homes for backup with this same battery, but we have the opportunity to power any other AC or DC application. Among the most performant is the DC pumps that we have been using in collaboration with our partners in Kenya. So about 3 years ago, we endeavored to release our first working electric vehicle prototype. And since we've been upgrading our battery capacity, we've been further developing our battery management system and fine-tuning the conversion of the local Bajaj BM100. So this is the vehicle that in the region dominates about 90% of the market share in terms of two-wheelers. And we decided that in an effort basically to concentrate on what we're best at, which is building batteries and still unlock the productive use application, we should build on a platform that is already accepted is already supported. And that is precisely what we did. We expect to use about 10,000 shillings less per 100 kilometers. That is based on the difference in expenditure between fuel and oil and the equivalent electricity requirement. So next to the electric motorcycle, we've also developed an electric tractor conversion. We again focused on an existing unit. So there are a couple of different variants of this that are available in the market of Chinese and Thai origin. In any case, we once again went about plucking out the diesel drivetrain, and in this case, we replaced it with a larger electric powertrain, and each of these tractors runs on 2 of the batteries that I mentioned before. The boat scenario, so we currently offer a 10 horsepower equivalent electric outboard motor that as well operates off at least 2 of our batteries. We see that it basically runs the task of the fishermen. And we also see that we are drastically reducing the amount of emissions associated with the typical 2-stroke outboard engines that operate on our lakes. So it's not only a challenge for our air, but also for the water itself. And of course, in the transition to an electric outboard, essentially, we don't anticipate to have any direct pollution of air or water. How have we been able to reach? We have basically invested heavily into the training and skilling of our own team, as well as our direct partners in Uganda and beyond, because we believe that it requires strategic partnerships to be able to offer the distribution strategy that we are after. And we also believe that there are several young individuals in Uganda who would love to have the opportunity to understand and to work on something that is future-proof. And we have offered the opportunity to learn applied skills that can be used every day, that probably transcend the walls of our own buildings. So we're seeing that people have been able to grow as a result of the challenges that they can grow into at Bodawerk. More than that, we do find that the skilling aspect is one that is key to our region in an effort to try and transition in a sustainable way. In an economy where there is about 1 million new vehicle registrations per annum, so that is the East African economy, we do expect to have a drastic impact. If we could only electrify 10% of the sector, we would be having a massive impact. Beyond that, we see that about half of the energy that is produced in Uganda, of which 95% and more is renewable, is currently not used, which means that not only do we still lack more adequate means of electrifying the average Ugandan than carrying lines up to their home, we also essentially are still not answering the question of returning the return on investments for the infrastructure, the energy generating infrastructure we have put into place. So there is an economic interest as well as an interest for every human being to upgrade their lives and to use fossil fuels at an extremely reduced level by using the renewable electricity that is already available in the grid. And we feel the only way to do that is with a flexible energy store.
My name is Twine, and I'm the director of Eco Group. And Eco Group is definitely one of the companies in Uganda that deals with clean energy. We were founded in 2010, and of course we started operations, but we started with R&D and to try and find a sustainable solution to cooking challenges that Uganda faces, looking at 90% of Ugandans depending on biomass having limited access to clean energy. So over the years, we were involved in R&D to try and come up with a product that is more sustainable and more accessible. Even when somebody has a gas cooker, electricity in their home, they still have to have a charcoal stove. Even the rural dwellers don't have access to electricity. even the country has, as the previously stated, that electricity is getting out to the other remote areas, but it's not easily afforded by the local person. So we decided that not only do we invent a stove that utilizes volcanic rocks, but also want the holistic or a complete energy solution. And this is whereby the stove also has the solar technology attached to it. What you look on the right is actually the control panel for the stove, whereby the technology itself uses the volcanic rocks, which is on the left. And these rocks are found all over Uganda, all over the Rift Valley. We wanted to have a solution that was not going to deplete our environment, and that is mitigating the climate change issues. So the solar, the box you look at, the little box at the bottom, is the battery which powers the stove, then which introduces the oxygen into the rocks, because the technology needs forced air, and this is what we do. So the aim and objective of the company is to reduce on the amount of deforestation by 95%, because the rocks are reusable. For us to light the rocks, we need to be able to use briquettes or pellets to light the rocks. And so we are reducing on the landfill, because we are processing our own briquettes and our own pellets from organic waste, which would otherwise have become a landfill and causing a lot of havoc to the environment. We also fighting poverty in various ways, where we're training young people. Over the last 10 years, we have trained over 230 young people and women. We have created a chain of young people who work as outlets, who operate our hubs, who are working on their own, but at the same time, we have the ones who provide our inputs from the clay liners, molding into our factory, who are providing us the pellets which we're selling to clients as our inputs. So among the things that we do to create employment is that every input we use in our product is actually made locally by the people that's creating employment and alleviating poverty. This is a complete package that somebody gets a full package, which is a solar panel, a battery bank on the left. They're able to charge their phone, they're able to light their home, they're able to do everything else within the same one product. This is a typical one. Again, I mentioned that we serve institutions. These are typical restaurants and small domestic, businesses that are using the stove. So this is a typical constructed one. We do permanent ones. So if somebody has an organization and they are cooking for more than 20 people, then we move them into this kind of constructed stoves. These are more durable. And of course, this one has the green one. You see there is an oven. It's able to bake, grill. And then this other one, the 4 burners, are able to cook. We looked at the complete solution that was able to cover the health benefit, the environmental benefit, the technology, as well as the economy. Now, looking at how much somebody spends in a home, we realized we needed a solution that was sustainable, but also to reduce on the cost. We're based in Kampala, but we have hubs across the country. We try to reach more people by reaching out to the 4 regions so that we are more accessible and reachable by the clients. But of course, there are other services that we have to serve from the head office, which is in Kampala. And of course, these are details, should you want to know more details on our page.